when a humble bard.
Welcome back to the official Legends of the Brave Bard YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss one of my favorite authors, J.R.R. Tolkien. With all the recent drama surrounding Amazon's Rings of Power series, the author himself has become a common topic on social media. As a fan of his works, and of the man himself, I would be remiss not to publish my thoughts on the man, his myths, and the lore of Middle-earth, and throw a few shots in at the corporate mess Amazon has made with their show. The man himself was an enigma in many ways, and as clear as any sunny day in others. Many men find themselves hardened after the traumas of war and often become cynical, but the great professor did not. His love of the simple things, personified by the hobbits, thankfully remained intact after fighting in the First World War. Also intact was his morality, personified by all the protagonists in one way or another. Although Sam Gamgee was one character he was said to identify with the greatest. But it also must be said that he had the names Beren and Luthien inscribed upon his and his wife Edith's graves, to honor their lifelong love. So the argument that he felt a connection to all of his characters is pretty strong. Being a devout Catholic and a professor of linguistics, his stories have very rich theological origins and languages woven in them. The world and lore to his legendarium are complex and quite unique. Nearly every level of the history of his fantasy realm has been planned and fleshed out in one way or another. In songs sung by our heroes, stories passed over a hot second breakfast, and letters to fans and friends, it's all laid out. And the fact that just one single man created all of it is astounding to me. Working on my own series has highlighted just how astronomical a task it truly was. This respect for all the love and decades of labor he poured into the world of Middle-earth is what leads me to say that Amazon's show sucks. It's debasing the lore, changing the narratives, and in the end is just a pretty boring fantasy story. The characters are mostly unlikable, the dialogue is laughable, and the pacing is all over the place. I have a video in the works where I go over my gripes in more detail, but I'm waiting for the season finale, so I can get all of my digs in right and proper. It's going to be a glorious time, roasting the evils created through Amazon's greed and hubris. Hope to see you there. Okay, back to Professor Tolkien and his legendarium. I have a few more thoughts on just how much love and attention to detail was involved in creating it. One being the moral of the story, or the main narrative. The idea that even the smallest acts of kindness and mercy are indeed acts of great valor. That one should not take for granted the small things, whether they be simple pleasures, or indeed small people. A timeless message that even wildly reactionary modern writers cannot really argue against, although some try. Lastly, I would like to mention the idea of redemption, a theme tied into Frodo and Gollum's character arcs. Going back to the small acts having large consequences also, because both ideas are tied together here. Tolkien had Frodo fail in the very last moments. Despite it all, the ring's dark power overcame his will and inherently good nature. Just as it had with Gollum, but in Frodo's case, he got redemption due to one simple act of mercy. By sparing the poison being that was Gollum earlier, he ensured that his time as Lord of the One Ring was cut short. And his finger cut short too. But I digress. Frodo's kindness was his saving grace. And in the scouring of the Shire, he remembers this lesson, thus he offers both Saruman and Wormtongue mercy. You will be hard-pressed to find mercy among the corporate backers at Amazon, and the writers and actors involved with the Rings of Power. And you definitely won't find any in their rude, self-centered betrayal of Galadriel. It's not a portrayal. Nearly every one of her scenes has a betrayal of her character. But back to mercy, there isn't any in the knockoff hobbits who leave their kin to die on a whim. Nor the elves. They're cold, detached, and one-dimensional. And oddly, Amazon's elves carved homages to their dead in living trees with whom they could speak and had fellowship. But again I digress. Mercy is important to Tolkien, clearly. And so is doing small kindnesses. So to me and this channel is small kindness. Please like and subscribe for more fantasy content. And support indie creators whenever possible. To end the video, I'll leave you with these wise words from Lord 𝔹𝕣𝕒𝕕. Do not despise the lore that has come down from distant years, for oft it may chance that old wives keep in memory word of things that once were needful for the wise to know.